Ever wonder how much discipline you need to finish a 3-week fast? Let me give you a hint. A lot. However, it takes double amount of energy and double amount of discipline when you start eating again. Why? It doesn't matter if you finish a 1-week fast or 1-month fast. Introducing food back into your stomach is a process. Some might call it nerve-wracking. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. We'll go over that first bite of food, what it should be, how much it should be, why the double discipline, and also what mistakes I made after finishing my 3-week fast this year in March. In this video, I'll be going over the mistakes that I made in the week after I finished my 3-week long fast. But in case you're new here, welcome. On this channel, I talk about prolonged fasting, which in my opinion is anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. And I'll be helping you to successfully prepare for, start, endure, and finish your first 3-week fast. Prolonged fasting is great, more than great, but you need discipline. And when I'm talking about discipline, there are two kinds of disciplines. First kind of discipline when you are fasting, and it's the second kind of discipline when you stop fasting. So let's go over both of them. What's the difference between them? When you're fasting, you know that you are not eating anything. So the discipline is pretty small if your why is big enough. So you know that you are not supposed to eat anything. And before you started fasting, you decided how long you're not going to eat anything. So if your why is strong enough, you know that you won't be introducing any solid food into your system for that period. There is a little more discipline that you will need when bad days occur when you're fasting. So when you're fasting, there will be a couple of bad days, maybe even a little more. And on those days, you feel like you want to quit. You don't have any energy. All you want to do is, eat or crawl into a hole and wait for the day to end. And this is basically the best advice that I can give you. And there is no discipline needed. If you have a bad day, usually it helps if you go on a very slow walk. You come back, you read a book, you indulge yourself in your favorite, TV shows or TV series, and you go to bed early. And this is how you tackle a bad day. So if you have a discipline to endure the bad day, then you will have a discipline to endure your fasting period. And there is one more discipline that you will need when you will be fasting, and that is the discipline to stay away from cravings. Because cravings will occur probably in the first days when you start your fasting period, and there will be more and more cravings when you are getting closer to that finish line. And when those cravings hit, you need to have great discipline. Because if you know anything about fasting, or if you ever wore that glucose monitor, you know that if you eat certain kinds of food like, peanuts or something like that, that is full of fat, that will not increase your blood glucose. But if you're fasting and you know that you shouldn't eat any solid food, and if your why is strong enough, then also your discipline will be. So that cravings are usually not for peanuts, and it's usually for, at least for me, for something heavy like cake, or something sweet, or something salty, and something that I shouldn't eat when I am fasting. And that basically covers the discipline part in the fasting period. But when you stop fasting, the discipline is going to be tested. What I'm talking about. You need to transition into a food as an energy source correctly. What I'm talking about. Let me give you a story. My first fast was when I was 18 years old, and it lasted for 18 days. But for the last week before I finished my fast, all I could think about was my favorite breakfast. It was bagel spread with a lot of butter and marmalade and green or black tea on the side. And when that fast ended, I decided at 18 days that I had enough. Why? I don't know. It should be 21 days, but who knows? And my thought about that breakfast stuck with me. So I went to the bakery. I bought the most fresh, fragrant bagel that I can find. I spread it generously with butter, and I put a lot of marmalade on top, and then I ate the whole thing. What I wanted to tell you was how I felt afterwards. Now imagine that you have a child who is about 3 years old and you offer him a lollipop. And then you say, oh, lollipop is not good for you, I'm going to take it back. Imagine the tantrum that child is going to have. Now imagine that your belly or your stomach is that child. You just gave it food after 18 days of nothing but juices. It's going to have a tantrum if you want to take that food away. And that food was not correct. It was too heavy for me, and I was sick for half a day. I couldn't vomit because it wouldn't give the lollipop away, or bagel in my instance. I didn't have a diarrhea, or I couldn't flush it out of my system the other way because it was not digested. And all I could do was lie in bed, hold my stomach, and just wish for the day to end. It was excruciating pain, and that's what I don't wish for any of you. So when you start eating again, you have to start eating correctly. We will get back to that in a moment, but we are still at the disciplined side. And the other thing that you need discipline on when you start eating again after fasting is hunger. You will be hungry more often when you start eating again after a fast. Let me give you an example. I have breakfast usually before the fasting. I have breakfast at around 11 or 12 o'clock or noon, let's say, in the morning. But when I start eating again after a 3-week fast, it doesn't matter when that first bite of food is. After that, I'm hungry all the time. I cannot control my hunger, let's say, and I could eat every 4 to 5 minutes to an hour. So if you're not prepared for that hunger, or if you don't have food prepared in that instance, you're going to reach for unhealthy food, which is not good for you, for your stomach or for your body. That being said, we need to, when you are fasting, you should know a simple rule about fasting is that if you are fasting correctly, you need to have a transitioning period for 1/3 of that fast. So let's say that I've been fasting for 3 weeks. 1/3 of 3 weeks is 1 week. So one fasting period should be, if you're fasting correctly, should be 4 weeks. That is 3 weeks of fasting and 1 week of 1 week of transitioning back to the food that you were used to before you were fasting. So that's 4 weeks, and that 1 week is crucial. I already told you about the first bite or the first meal that you should have. I'm going to go over what it should be, but that whole process, that whole week should be mindfully concluded for 7 days. So think about it when your fasting period is coming to an end. Think about what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for those 7 days that are following your fast. And the rule of thumb is that you should start with light fruits and light vegetables, and then you should have more of them as the days continue, and you should introduce meat into your diet at day 4, day 5, and that should be like fish or some white meat that is not as heavy, and you should have that bigger, better dinners at the end or after that 1 week adjustment. And this brings me to my last discipline that you will be forced to endure after that fasting period and that food adjustment period for 1 week is the cravings. Now, if you were craving, like me, a bagel and butter and marmalade, then you will have a problem. If you were craving an apple, let's say, I think that a couple of years ago, all I can think about was my first bite of that apple, the entire 3 weeks when I was fasting. And that's great. But if you're craving turkey dinner with baked potatoes and a stuffing, then I would hold on to that thought for at least, let's say, 7 to 10 days, just to be on the safe side. So how to correctly introduce food into your system when you start eating again. For that first bite, it's been my practice now for many years after that that first breakfast that I had, and I thought that I was going to die. It has been an apple, and not a whole apple, actually this much of a slice of an apple, to have it at breakfast at any time you want, because you don't have to start at 7 o'clock in the morning because your body is still, fasting. So as long as you can hold on that first bite, it's going to prolong your fasting period, let's say like that. So I remember that after finishing my 3-week fast this year, I started with a slice of an apple, a very thin slice, and I felt like all the time, the first, it was that lightness that I feel when you're fasting. It's gone immediately, and I didn't think that I finished even the whole slice of an apple, and I had a lump inside of my throat like I ate an elephant. It was incredible. And also the food that not the food, but the digestion juices, if I'm saying this correctly, it was incredible how loud my stomach was once I ate that slice of an apple. It was like rumbling inside of my stomach. It was like, yay, happy hour, we're eating again. Incredible. But I also felt a bit nauseated, to tell you the truth. Even though I really didn't have a lot. It was like one bite of that slice. And after 45 minutes, I started to feel hungry again. And I ate that whole apple, I think that in a time frame of 2 or 3 hours, something like that. I was at work when I started eating again. So that plays a role, because I prepared myself in the morning my lunch, which was leek potato and a leek potato soup, I think. It was very light. As usual, I prepared, I think, half a liter of it or a whole canister, but I ate only 4 full spoons of it for my lunch break, because my stomach was still adjusting to food, and it could not take too much of food at one time. So that was basically it for the whole day. I think that I finished half of the soup at the evening. I didn't have anything else to eat that day. And at the end of the day, I didn't feel as nausea anymore or that lump in the throat anymore. It was only for the first couple of bites of that apple. But since we are talking about the problems and the mistakes that I made on after finishing my fasting period, the first day was okay. But the second day, I let's say went off the wagon. I think it's an expression. Let me explain. My husband and I were both fasting together, And since it was Friday, we decided to celebrate. So we went off work earlier before we picked up the kids, and we drove to our favorite picnic site. We bought fried turkey or pork, I don't know, fried turkey steak or something like that. I think it was turkey or pork, I don't know which one. And baked potatoes, and afterwards we even had a big scoop of ice cream for each of us. And we ate everything. I think it was one whole steak and a couple of potatoes, and then the ice cream. And at 7 o'clock at night, my indigestion started. I wasn't feeling very good when I was eating it, but you know that desire. It's not want. It's the inside of your head. You know, I want. But my body knew that I didn't want that kind of lunch, so it backfired. It backfired really badly. What do I mean? At 7 o'clock at night, thank God it was Friday, I started with the burps. I usually start with burping when I have indigestion problems. And the burping is really disgusting because it smells like, I think, methane, or to give you a proper description, it smells like rotten eggs. And it comes up from the stomach. It doesn't matter if I close my mouth, it comes out through my nostrils. Everybody can smell it. It's disgusting. It tastes disgusting. It smells disgusting. And this goes on for about, I don't know, 3 to 4 hours. And after that, the diarrhea starts because the indigestion from my stomach moves to my intestines. And then we have great days on the toilet. And that lasted for 3-4 days, on and off. The first diarrhea was I think half of Saturday. I was on the toilet. I really started to eat properly again, but it didn't help. The second wave of burping and diarrhea started on Monday, so it was very nice going to work again. And then I think it was the third one. It started on Wednesday. So even though I was taking care of my food intake and I didn't eat any of the meats at all, and I was really being careful of what I ate, it didn't matter. You know, my stomach was having none of it. You know, you broke the rules, you should suffer, and I did. My husband had the same problems, but aside from burping, he doesn't burp, he just goes to the toilet. So we were exchanging our time on the toilet. It was really a fun time. It was a fun finish to our mini date. And that's basically it. It was great, let's say. I lost 8 kilograms, I think, 7 or 8 kilograms in my fasting period of 3 weeks. This year I gained back 3 of them in that first week, so I was very good. What else? I was planning a healthy diet all through my fasting period. You can watch the vlog of my fasting period. I filmed every day what I was feeling, what my cravings were, or what my day was like. And I was planning to have a very healthy start and very healthy beginning of my non-fasting days. Well, it went out the window the second day when I started eating like that. What else? The health problems that I had before, before I started fasting, I had problems with swollen joints. Well, it appeared again. So in the first week after fasting, in the fasting period, it was great. I felt light. I could move again and everything. Now the fingers are swollen again and my joints are swollen again. So it's all due thanks to the food that I ate. And also the cravings and the hunger, they came back with a vengeance, because this year my goal was to get rid of the sugar cravings that I had most of the year. And since I broke the fast and I broke the rules of how to start eating properly again after the fast, the cravings, the sugar cravings, they came back with a vengeance, and now I'm really struggling to get away or stay away from sugar and sugary snacks. So this is my lesson. If you're thinking about fasting, then think about the whole period, not only the fasting period, but also the transformation back to your food as an energy source. This is my warmest recommendations, and I hope that you're going to listen to me. As you can see, after 28 years, I still make mistakes, and this is a process that I know that I'm going to perfect as long as I'm going to fast. And on that subject, I would like to tell you that I'm starting a mini-series, or basically a mini-series about benefits of fasting. Why? Because fasting is a really great way to lose weight, to get your health back in check. And if your why is really strong enough, it's a good lifestyle change as well. And to start off, I'm going to dive deep into the benefits of the fasting, starting with the research, what research has to tell us, starting with my health benefits that I've noticed over the 28 years, with the vanity benefits, so how fasting influences my body, and also the fasting, the benefits that fasting has on my mind and also on the life itself. So this is what's coming up next in the next few weeks. I will link in the show notes below the first part of the fasting series, not the fasting, the benefits series, so you can look it up in the show notes. But just to conclude, if you are thinking about giving fasting a go, I have only 2 recommendations. Please find your why and let it be a strong one, why you want to fast, and let this why help you, help to sustain you and keep you away from stupid things like I did during fasting and after the period when you are still adjusting to the food. And also the second thing that I would like to tell you is, please, before you start your fasting journey, see a doctor and get yourself checked out. And maybe he or she will have some complaints, or maybe some ideas how you should start or why fasting is not good for you. If you have any questions, meet me down in the comments below. If not, thank you for your time and your attention, and I hope to see you again in the next video.